Hello and welcome to the new Power BI dashboard tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to show you the new dashboards that I have created on the web marketing data. So this web marketing data will going to help the users understand about how their various KPIs are performing, and then we can further delve into the details where we can look at the trends or the heat map, and by country all of the information which usually a management needs to decide on where to improve and what to improve. And what you can see right now in front of you is the objectives and KPIs, where I am giving you some basic requirements in terms of what is needed in this dashboard, and then I will show you a sample dashboard. With the help of that, we will going to create the exact new dashboard. Okay, so what do the company need? Company is looking to improve the key KPI by analyzing the current values and comparing it with the last 3 months. So this is where, if you see, what I'm trying to do is I am creating the customized targets based on looking at what last 3 months are. This is especially useful in scenarios like those if you are working on a data set and you don't have the targets. So generally what usually the target becomes is basically the historical performance. Some may say last 3 months, some may say 3 months of last year or last year performance, things like those. So that becomes a benchmark against which you say that this is something which I have done historically and now my performance has to improve, right? So that is why I have created it as a target, that my performance in comparison to last month, whether it has been improved or not, by looking at the various KPIs in the web marketing domain, like the bounce rate or page viewing, session time, things like those. Then what do we do is we will create 3 very simple and easy to understand charts, which will help that this dashboard then show the high and low points of the respective KPIs on various devices. That means over a period of time it should show the high and low point on which the website's been seen. That means whether on desktop or on mobile or on tablet, and various different devices. Also, finally, it should show the trend of these KPIs on various devices. So once we have shown the heat map, it will show the trend. And then finally, one more view, which is a high level, that in which country we are performing good or bad. So this will help analyze the individual KPIs and where they are performing better or worse. Now let's look at the sample KPI dashboard, which you will find it pretty interesting to see. Okay, so what do I have is this dashboard where you can see that you have the KPIs at the top, right? A simple layout. Then down below you have basically over a period of time. Over here it is the hours of the day and some dimension values, and then you have the information about the trend. Then on the right hand side you have the commentary or the activity, but what we will going to do is we will produce a different chart which will further help user understand by looking at different information. So along with this, in the end I will going to tell you how you can take it to a next level. That means how things happen in the real time once new set of requirements will come. So stay tuned with me. Along with that, I want to give you one quick information that if you are looking for a specialized training that is specific to your needs or the work that you do, then what I do is I help users design their training with the suggestions and the requirements that they are having. So if you are looking for something which is specialized specifically for you, then reach out to me on the email that I have provided below, and we will work together to design a training that works for you. Alright, with that, let's go ahead and see this thing in action. Okay, so here I was working on this particular piece, pretty much half-cooked dashboard, but something similar to what we will going to do, and I will help you understand how you can do it step by step, and I will do it with the completely new report. Okay, so what I will do is I will click on create. So if you are wondering where I am, because this does not look like desktop, so I am in a Power BI service mode or the Power BI web mode, where we can create the dashboards in the web mode. It has a little bit less functionalities but still does the work for us. So I will say don't save, And in this case, I have the dataset file. So where you can find the dataset? Well, dataset is in the link is in the description. However, how to reach to a dashboard is a 2 or 3 step process. One is that once you will click on the link which I have given for dataset, will take you to my Google groups which you can join. After joining, you get a link where you basically come over here in my Google Drive, which I am maintaining it from a long time. Now, based on your feedback, because you can see there are various different data sets and it becomes a little difficult to find it, what I have done is I have used this data sets sheet where I keep all of my data sets together now, right? Like this user is accessing it right now. So what you can do is you can reach out to this web marketing dashboard file and you can download it, right? So this is basically a 3-step process, just so that if you are confused about or if you are not able to find it. So make sure you join the group and then reach to my datasets folder and then reach to this Google Sheet dataset sheet, which helps you get this dataset. Oops, looks like I accidentally clicked on edit. So, okay. All right, with that, what we can do is we can come over here, and this is where I am in Power BI service, not in a desktop mode, because I thought we can easily create it in the Power BI service, which has a little bit less features compared to the desktop, but still does the work. So what we'll do is we will click on the CSV, and in this CSV, I have the option of uploading a file where I'll click on the browse, and here is my data, which I will going to create it. So what do we have is basically this file which was uploading, and now it is completely uploaded, right? So what you can do is once you are here, you can come over here on the next, right? And you can then it will allow you to see the data based on how it is observing the first few hundreds or thousands of rows. So we will wait for a minute. So based on first 200 rows, entire data set, do not detect data type, you can do any of that. So what we will do is we are going to click on create, and that will going to what it will do is prepare the data, load the data in report, and finish up. All of that basically required to work with the data within the system. All right, so we have this data set already loaded into the system now. So what we are going to do is produce the output. So the KPI is something what we will going to use is this one, which is a KPI, which will help us do 3 things. It will display the KPI value, it will display the trend, and it will display the targets, right? So first thing first is I will put it here and maybe a little bit up so that I can have the dashboard title over here, right? So over here, what do I have? I have already selected this, but in the web marketing, if you see, the first information I have is about bounces. So bounces is about, somebody came in and bounced from your website. So it is a KPI which basically you want to reduce it down. That means if it is higher, it is not good for the website. So bounce rate should be less. So once I bring in, by default, what it does is it produces the sum of bounce. So what we are going to do is we will say average of bounce. So this is the average of bounce. Nothing is produced because still we have to work with these 2 fields, the trend axis and the target. And target, if you remember, is based on last 3 months, which if you will observe, we don't have it over here. We have the measure, we have the date, we don't have last 3 months information. So that is something we will going to create it with the help of DAX, with little bit complex DAX, and you will really enjoy that because you will be able to then use it in your real work. Okay, so with that, what I will do is I have this, I will bring the date over here, right? So if you see, this is how the date really looks like. We have the option where we can basically say we want date hierarchy. So this is coming like year, or if you want along with the year you want the quarter information, you can bring the quarter as well. So this is year, this is quarter, or I can say this date hierarchy, this quarter, and basically it allows us to produce whatever level we want to see the information, right? So this is day information, that means the various days. So I will probably keep it like this, because then I should be able to select the year, the quarter, the month, and then see my daily trend of this, right? So that is the, let's say, the one we want to set, and then finally the target value for which we will going to create our beautiful DAX. Okay. So to create the DAX, what do we need is basically something I have to do with the open data model. So what it does is it basically creates, or it basically opens up the data set, right? The data that we have loaded. And then over here, I have the option where I can create the measure, right? So if I click on that, right now nothing is enabled, because if you see this one viewing, if I move myself, this is something viewing, and I want to change it to editing. Okay. So once I click on edit, this new measure is now enabled. Okay. And I will show you step by step how you will do that. So first thing first is the new measure. So new measure is going to basically say, we will call it last 3 month bounce rate average, right? So very clear what we want to create. So first thing first, what we need to do is to do the last 3 months average, and this will going to be a dynamic calculation. What I mean by that is that in a regular work, the data gets updated on a daily basis, right? Daily transactions are happening and you are getting data. So that means the date is changing. So first thing first, what we need to do is identify the latest date. And then based on that latest date, we need to identify the last 3 months, right? So that whenever your user is opening a dashboard now, 2 months later, 5 months later, or 1 year later, you don't have to write that calculation again and again on a daily basis. So we will going to create that dynamic calculation, which will always calculate the last 3 months. Okay. So for that, the first thing first, what we will going to do is VAR variable I will declare to get the latest date. So latest underscore date is equals to, by default, what we do is we produce the max function and we say date column name like this one, and just be done with it. But I will show you its issues. So I will press Alt Enter and I will say return, Alt Enter, and or Option Enter if you are on Mac like me. Then what it will going to do is it will basically say the, what you have is the return latest underscore date. That's it. That's what I need. Okay. So if I click OK, it will work on it and it has created this field. Now this field will reflect in my front end as well over here in maybe a couple of seconds. Now if you can see, it just reflected. So I'll create a second page and I'll create a KPI and I'll show you 2 behaviors of this to better understand this particular piece. So last 3 months, what I get, 8/31/2019. Now we can check this with the help of a table. So if I click on this and I basically click on date, and rather than hierarchy, what I say is I need the exact dates. So the first date which I have is the 17th May 2017, and if I sort it, this one, what it will should give me, if I click it again, yeah, 31st August 2019. So if you see, 31st August 2019 is the latest date or the last date in my data set, and the first date is 17th May. So dynamically I have identified. Now the problem with this is, let's say I have this date, right, and I create one more table for you to understand this. So I have, let's say, something called as country. I want to do some analysis on the country. I want to make sure that this is always my last date. But see what happens if I bring this over here. If you see, this date is different for different values. For Afghanistan, it is 12th July. For Albania, it is 31st July, so on and so forth, right? Now, in a way, it is useful because it is telling you when the last bounce rate was done. If let's say something you are something you want to track, you can track like this with the help of a max state, so that it will show you the different value for different countries. So it is a useful information, but not in a situation like this when we have all the values aggregated. In that case, what we need is the one single output, which is 31st August 2019, right? So how do we do that? So for that, what I'll do is come back over here. So I have this max. What I will do is I will change this to max X, right? And in that, then what it allows me to add is the table, which is all. Okay, so this is behaving a bit weird. I see that it behaved weird earlier as well. So let me try max latest. Okay, let me remove all of that. For some reason it is behaving weird. Alt enter var. Yeah, now if you see, it is fine. Latest date is equals to max X, and in the max X, what I will going to write is a table which will be all web marketing. That means at a table level, and my expression will going to be the maximum of the date column. So what I have is the date, and I'll close that. Okay, so it will give me always the latest date with the help of this change, because all is indicating that I want to look at the entire data set, not on individual. That means it will remove that row context that table was applying. Okay, so option enter, I will create one more column, and it will be last underscore 3 underscore month, right? And this will be date add. In the date add, I need to provide date, which will be the latest date, because from there we need to get the value, latest date. And then what do we need is the number of intervals, right? So number of intervals is -3. I want to go 3 months back, and it will be month. All right. So I have latest date -3 month. Right now, if you see, it is producing, it is a bit of a challenge. So why? Because see, max X is producing a measure output. It is not producing a date output. So we need something which will produce the date output. So alternatively, what we can do is we can remove this entire piece, and I will show you an alternative function to do this piece. So this will work fine if you are only doing this calculation. But if you are using latest date somewhere else in a different date calculation, which is now we are doing a nested calculation, then it will not going to work. So what I will basically do is equals to say, yeah, it has done that weird thing. So what I'll do is, let me just produce it once again, right from the scratch, latest underscore date. And what do we have is the last date function, right? So last date will basically just make sure that I'm able to get it, what I have as part of the dates, the last date. So what I'll do is, here I will write all, and in that the column name is my date, right? So this is also the easy function which will give us the last date. I wanted to show you both. Behavior of both the same. The only thing is the output of this is a date, and we will be able to use it in the another function. So variable last underscore 3 underscore month, month, is equals to max not max X, sorry, date add. And in that, if you see latest date, now it is not throwing an error, right? This is a difference. Last date function is returning the date value, whereas the max X function was returning us a measurable value, not the date formatted value, right? So number of intervals is -3 because we want to go 3 months back, and then interval is month, right? Alt enter, and we will simply say return. What we want to return is the calculate function, where we want to take an average of what? Bounce, right? And then what do we want to do is we want to create the filter, which is based on the dates. So our date is greater than or equals to last 3 months, right? And date is less than equals to what? Latest date. And we are done. So if you see, this is a 3-step process. First, get a fixed latest date, get the last 3-month date, exact date, and then create this range to only get the bounce data for the last 3 months date range, right? So we will click apply. So if we have done that, now will you be able to do for rest of the KPIs? So this is as a practice what you need to do. I have created it bounces. Do the same thing for exit, average page load time, average page views, total number of session or average session, up to you. If you are a web marketing expert, you can decide on that. But let's say I say average sessions, average time on page, and unique page views. So again, over here, up to you. You want total page views, unique page views, or you want average, based on the situation that you are in, you can decide that. However, the calculation will be same. So see, I have given you one important calculation for you, which you can change it the way you want, right? Last 3 months, last 6 months, last 2 months, last month, and so on and so forth, and apply on all of the measures over here. So create that, and then you will be able to get this concept. Once you will repeat it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Once you will repeat it 6 times, it will be completely clear, right? So over here, let's do this piece. We have created this, and let's come to Power BI, and let me come to my page number 1. And now over here, what I can bring is the target value, right? Now if you see the last 3 months, the goal that it is saying, which I will show you how we can change that to make it more business relevant. It is basically showing you 0.3, and 0.6 is more than that. In business sense, it is bad because your bounce rate is doubled, which you would really not like. So your last 3 months average is 30%, and now it is 60%, something business don't want. So it is not green, it is basically red. So what we will do is we will say trend axis, and we have the target label, and we will say last, or we will say 3-month average, right? So we got 3-month average, right? So this is what it is, and then it is showing you the trend over here. So same way, you will create 6 more KPIs from here. You will bring the relevant KPIs and the day and the month, and that will create your 6 KPIs like this. So 1, if I copy and paste, 2, copy and paste 3, so on and so forth. So that basically creates your entire KPI thing. Now the only thing which I will do next is over here in the formatting, since this is not good for a company, so target label, where is that, call out value, I'm trying to find out, distance to goal, increasing to positive, trend axis is there. So we have high is good, and we will say low is good. So that means it is now red, right? So same way, decide, since if you are producing as part of learning, not an issue, but if you are a web marketing expert and want to develop a dashboard, you know what color coding you want to give. But very easily we can say that exits, right, number of exits is probably not good. So you will say low is better. Page load time, low is good, high is not good. That means low is good. Page views, obviously high is good. Sessions, high is good. Time on page, high is good. And unique page views, obviously high is good. So you can see the variance based on when the low is good or when the high is good. So what Power BI has done for us is a good thing where we can create the simple high is good or low is good sort of a thing and create this piece very quickly. Now once we have done that, created this KPIs, what we were going to do is we need to create a filters for them, if you remember, because right now it is showing us the information which is not correct. So I have this and I add, let's say, the year over here, and what I do is in slicer settings I say time and I move this up, yeah, and what I do is I put it like this. So this is my year, and if I copy and paste and I move it somewhere here, I see quarter, right? Okay, copy and paste, I move it here and I say month, right? So now you will see that there are a lot of months, and that is why it is taking up a lot of space for us. So this is something which we can do, right? Alternatively, we have a way where we can only extract the first three values and say Jan, Feb, March and all, right? Same way we have done, we can do it over here by creating a new column, which will basically say bring the three characters from the left for the month column, right? So that is something which is also dynamically we can do it. So over here we will just produce it like this for now, right? All of that advanced thing is something we can always change it as per our needs. And I will select this entire piece and move it down so that there is some space at the top. Now the next piece what I have is a matrix where I will show you how you can create a heat map, right? And it is based on what do we have is the channel grouping, okay, and what do we have is the bounces, not the sum of bounces but the average of bounces, okay, and this is basically showing 52%, 62%, 22%. So it is by channel grouping we can see how the bounces are there, and then what we can do is we can bring again the day column over here, and then we can highlight this piece. Yeah. So that way we have a way where we can even change or increase the layout. So for that I need to click outside somewhere, go into this page settings, canvas settings, and in the canvas setting I say custom, and I have a width which I can, let's say, give it 1400, which will allow me to further expand this, okay. So now what I don't need is the total over here. So in the visual I don't need totals, so that is why it is reduced, and I can reduce this as well, and I copy and paste it also again one more time and I put it down below. However, in this case now I need it by device, not the channel grouping but by device, and what do I need is a trend, right? So I have this, and what I need is basically a trend by the device category. So I'll put device category on the legend. So now you can see clearly the mobile is where we have the more issues, right? And we want to fix this at 31 because it is going till 35. So over here on the x-axis maximum we will say 31, right? Now I can select that in 2019 quarter 4 how much we have. Looks like there is no data. So 2018 quarter 4 October, November, December, all of that if you see is coming perfectly, right? So this is something what we have done. We have created a chart for the heat map. Now we need to enable the heat map because reading these values are very, very difficult. So what we will going to do is we will come over here in average bounces. I clicked on this icon and set conditional formatting and set background color. In the background color, this is the lowest value, right? So lowest value blue is okay, but highest value what do we need is the red, right? Because higher is the value, that means it is not good. So we will click OK, and you will see very quickly where you need to focus. Okay, you need to focus here, 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 here a lot, right? And basically ask questions, what really happened there? And that's something we can explain with a chart like a country by country chart that will help us understand okay, this is a direct, when I click it over here, where it has created an issue for me, right? So for that, what I will do is I will increase my size of the visualization canvas settings, and let me call it what, 1500, right? And in this, then what I'll do is I'll bring this particular chart, which is, let's say, starting here and going till here. All right, what do we have is the country name. So where is the country name is over here, and what do we have is the bounces. So we have bounces over here, sum of bounces, no, what we need is the average of bounces. And then what we can do is we can enable the data labels, right? So clearly a lot of bounces over here, but once you will click on a value, you will basically see what is really happened. So one way is that you will see that Philippines, Austria and all of that. So there is a way. Right now what it does is it highlights the value and you can scroll through and up and down and it will show it. Other ways we can filter it, right? So that is something as part of the configuration of the visualization, we can say whether we want to filter or highlight it. So wherever we will click, you will see that whether it has highlighted. So these are the two values which is really contributing a lot. So that way you can very pinpoint way go to that country's website and see what is really happening and move in that direction. All right, and with that, what do we have finally is the title. So for that, what I can bring is a rectangle and move it here, and this will go down and we will call it so not the rectangle I would say, but I will delete it. I will say the text box. In text box is Web Marketing Dashboard, Web Marketing Analytics Dashboard, right? All right, and then we will double click on that, and let's say we want 20. Yeah, and with that I can increase the size here and here. We can make it bold, but we make it a little bit light gray, maybe like this one, so that it is not taking a lot of attention. Also in the effect, in the background, we can make it like this background and make it 50% transparent. Yeah. So this is something which will allow us to produce the output. I will say Control C, Control V, just so that, you know, the space is all filled up. I will fill up this. Yeah. All right, till here. And then what do we have is this piece at the top where filters clearly indicating what you have done. Last but not the least, I will make this as same color as, let's say, gray, so that it is not indicating a lot of, not the grid line, I'm sorry, but the bars. Maybe this one, so that it is not attracting a lot of attention with the blue color, right? Up to us what we want, but I wanted to show you what you can do. So with that, very easily you can see that we have created a dashboard that has helped us look at these values without an issue, right? And you can see that if I don't click on quarter, then by default I can click on any of the month of 2018 and see all the days values, right? Very easily, very effectively. Finally, what do you want to know is what's next, right? Because we have spent close to 30 minutes on this, and now it's about the next thing. The next thing what needs to be done is, if you see over here, these are all the KPIs which we have designed it perfectly, right? The next thing is that over here, if you see, this is only the bounce rate, right? So if you see it has these many values, so I will reduce it down. So this is only the bounce rate values that we are getting. But what if based on the selection of these KPIs, the value over here and here is changing, and as well as here it is changing? Because you have 7 KPIs, right? From the 7 KPIs, you are right now using only 1 KPI over here. So that is something which is an advanced concept. I really want you, what you do is you search through it as to how you will be able to do it. If you find it very good, and that is something as part of the next level you should really look towards. That is number 1, right? Number 2 thing can be that now once we have designed this, your users are coming back and saying, oh, this is good, right? We are able to do it. Can you give me a filter which is specific to only this visualization? For example, I have channel grouping, right? One of the ways is I can click over here and all the charts will be updated. But what if I want is by clicking over here, only this particular chart is updated, right? Same way, if I click over here, only this particular chart is updated. So that basically gives me more customizations. And finally, last but not the least, what if user really wants to see the raw data, right? For example, they want to click on direct over here and want to see all the direct data. They want to click on Brunei and they want to see all the raw data. How would you basically tell them and show it the raw data? That is something really the advanced level things, what I really teach in my training. And I want you to think in this direction to really understand what happens when a demo like this ends and the real work starts. Because demos sometimes are very, very basic, pre-designed and all of that. Real situations are unexpected. So those unexpected behaviors is something what I teach in my training to really excel in the real life environment. With that, I really thank you that still if you are with me, then thank you so much for watching, and I'll meet you in the new video with a new topic.